Welcome back to the Scoop College Basketball Podcast. We are back for our last conference preview of the season. It is 9:21 Central Time, 39 minutes till college basketball starts. So I'll be overlapping a little bit, but let me see if you can see this on. Okay, was a bad idea, but yeah, 9:21. So you can see. I don't know how to do this. This is bad. I was trying to show you that. Maybe it'd be better if I pulled up my phone at time. So yeah, you can see it's 9:22 now, but I'm doing all this before college basketball officially starts. Yeah, that was a failed experiment. But so just saying, even though this will be posted after the season is officially underway, I'm going into all this with no knowledge about any of the results happening in the actual season. So yeah, ACC preview. In KenPom, they were the 7th best conference last year, which is good in the grand scheme of things, but it's terrible when you're an ACC and you're a Power 6 conference and not in the top 6 conferences in KenPom. Not the most ideal situation, but Miami did make the Final Four. Duke made the round of 32. Virginia lost in the first round. Pitt made the round of 32, and NC State lost in the first round. Those were teams in the tournament, notably not North Carolina in the tournament last season. ACC had a rough year. Outside of Miami, obviously making the Final Four, but let's see some of the all-conference guys. Let's see, I think I might have lost my all-conference. So just pulling up the all-conference members from last year's team. Last year's conference. Isaiah Wong from Miami, he exhausted his he went and started his pro career. Armando Bacot back in North Carolina. Tyree Appleby exhausted his eligibility. Hunter Tyson exhausted his eligibility. Jamarius Burton exhausted his eligibility. Kyle Filipowski back at Duke. Traquavion Smith, NC State, started his pro career. And Jarkel Joyner for NC State exhausted his eligibility. Jordan Miller for Miami exhausted his eligibility. And Blake Hinson is back at Pitt. From the third team, Norchad O'Meara back at Miami, PJ Hall back at Clemson, Kie Clark exhausted his eligibility, Jesse Edwards transferred to West Virginia, and Reese Beekman is back at Virginia. So yeah, some solid amount of returning talent there. But anyway, moving to the let's see, how many coaching changes do we have in the conference? Let's take a look at that first. Let's see what jobs turned over. Georgia Tech, Damon Stoudemire's new head coach, they're replacing Josh Pastner, a move that I think is going to be really great. Louisville did not change over yet, but it should very soon. Notre Dame, Micah Shrewsbury is a new head man in town, replacing Mike Bray, who stepped down at the end of last season. Shrewsbury was really good coach at Penn State and definitely a rising star in industry. Jim Boeheim out at Syracuse finally after a lot of time. I say finally because he was kind of reaching his end. He was getting less effective. But Adrian Autry, assistant head coach, is the new head coach in town. So yeah, those are the 3 new head coaches in the conference. So yeah, a few coaching changes. I like all the hires. I think they will end up being good. But moving to my all-conference personal teams, my player of the year is Kyle Filipowski from Duke. Not a super controversial pick. I think he's pretty consensus pick for player of the year. Duke is going to be one of the best teams in the country, and Filipowski should really establish himself as one of the best players in the country. He should be fully healthy now, coming back from some surgery he had this offseason, but he is absolutely good to go now. Nigel Pack from Miami is a guy I have my first team. Will definitely take a jump without Isaiah Wong in the backcourt. Pack can really shoot the ball. Should see some more volume this year. Tyrese Proctor from Duke, another guy I have. Another really noted breakout candidate. Everyone knows he's going to have a huge breakout where everyone seems to think that All-American candidate. End the season strong. Should be in for a big year too. PJ Hall for Clemson, a guy I really like. Really skilled forward. Should really be able to make an impact this year with he's fully healthy going into the season. And last player of my first team is Armando Bacot. Really elite rebounder. Should still provide the Tar Heels with a lot this season. Moving on to my second team, I have Judah Minch from Syracuse. Really put up some good stats his freshman year. Should have a little more team success this year, in my opinion. So I think that'll help. Obviously, going to sophomore year, he's definitely an NBA draft prospect. Was really going to put up some good scoring, passing numbers. Mintz is a guy I'm really high on. RJ Davis from North Carolina, another guy that's going to put up some good scoring numbers. I think he's a good player in the backcourt. I think he was definitely going to be a little bit better backcourt with Caleb Love not there. Just wasn't effective player last year. So Davis was a better out to last year, at least. I have Blake Hinson from Pitt, returning all conference guy, really surprisingly good last year. I mean, he just hadn't played basketball for a few years going into last year. So it was a good sight to see him be so still on top of his game. Norchad Omier, I threw on there. Going to be a very solid rebounder for Miami. Physical inside big man, even though he's only 6'7", he's still an elite of the elite rebounders, good defender as well. Really strong player. My last player on my second team is Quentin Post for Boston College. He's a player I really like, and I think could really skilled big, definitely underrated nationally. Moving to my third team, I have Reese Beekman for Virginia, really elite defender. Everyone always thinks he's going to break out. I don't know if he is, but I know he's at least an elite defender at the very least. So I think he's someone that could definitely see a solid role. Same role, I think, but still going to be solid. Jeremy Roach, returning guard for Duke, solid backcourt player. Probably going to take a little bit of it. Proctor's probably going to be the main guy in the backcourt this year, but Roach still a very solid starter in his conference and for a really good team. Threw Sean Padula on there for Virginia Tech, going to be a solid point guard. He's going to get some solid scoring numbers, passing numbers. Should take a big jump, especially with Rodney Rice leaving Virginia Tech. Padula should take an increase in numbers there. Hunter Salas for Wake Forest. I think he's going to be great under Steve Forbes. Steve Forbes really knows how to make transfers come out of nowhere. And Salas, I think, is next guy on that list, former 5-star recruit. Didn't see a ton of success at Gonzaga, but showed some flashes. My final guy is Matthew Cleveland from Miami. I think he's going to do a perfect job of replacing the Jordan Miller role. Should fit right into that. I think with development, he will get a little bit better than he was at Florida State. I think he should be a very valuable player for the Hurricanes, which that segues perfectly into my top 10 transfer list because I have Cleveland at number 1. Number 2, I have Joseph Girard III in conference transfer, as is Cleveland. Girard coming from Syracuse to Clemson. Not a good defender, but can really light it up on offense. Can really good shooter, really good scorer. Can play make a little bit. Probably you want him playing off ball as a shooter, though. I think he's going to be really effective on a Clemson team that I do like. Number 3, I have J.J. Starling replacing Girard at Syracuse. Another in-conference transfer coming from Notre Dame. Didn't see a ton of he wasn't as good as people thought he'd be at Notre Dame, but still averaged double digits as a freshman. Definitely a lot to work with there, and could expand his role in year 2, playing with Mintz in the backcourt. Number 4, I have Salas, already touched on him. Number 5, I have Trey White for Louisville, coming from USC. Louisville's going to be terrible, but Trey White was good as a freshman at USC, and hopefully Kenny Payne doesn't ruin him enough where he's still one of the best transfers in the conference and going to get his fair share of minutes, shots, all that fun stuff. 6, I have DJ Horn, solid point guard, solid 1-2 guard coming from Arizona State. Kevin Keats has done well with guards in the past. I mean, obviously, Jerkel Joyner broke into an all-conference guy. Maybe Horn's next on the list, maybe not, but I think he definitely has an opportunity for good minutes, points in that backcourt there. Number 7, I have Andrew Rohde from Virginia, coming from St. Thomas as a freshman. He put up some big-time numbers all across the board. Was a first-team all-conference guy in his summit as a freshman. We'll see if he can expand his defensive game coming for Virginia, but good size for a guard. Again, good score from all 3 levels. Should give some Virginia some offensive pop. Number 8, I have Amari Abram for Georgia Tech, coming from Ole Miss. Think that's a guy that can really break out, in my opinion. Really liked the flashes he showed at Ole Miss. I think he can be an NBA player in the future, and I think Damon Stoudemire is a great fit for him. Number 9, I have Jordan Minor from Virginia, really solid defender, rebounder at Merrimack. We'll see if he steps up at the high major level, but I think he's still a good enough athletic big to still be really impactful. And in number 10, I have Harrison Ingram from North Carolina, former 5-star, wasn't that good at Stanford, but I don't know if the coaching is an upgrade, even though Stanford, both those teams at Stanford and North Carolina don't have the best coaching, but Ingram is still a guy that can still play a role, even if he's not that effective, due to his versatility, can pass for his size, good defender. At least will bring you some solid contributions there, even though I'm not a huge Ingram guy personally. Moving to my breakout players, I have the combo of Isaac McNeely and Ryan Dunn for Virginia. McNeely, I think, could lead him in scoring this year. Showed some real scoring flash as a freshman. And then Dunn isn't a guy that's going to score a ton of points, but he is ultra athletic, should be a dominant rim protector, very athletic forward. Should see an uptick in production with some players like Jaden Gardner, Caden Shedrick, Ben Vanderplas, all leaving the program. So yes, Woga Poplar for Miami is another guy I have. Could be in my all-conference teams. Honestly, could be like one of the best players in the conference. But I think he's good. Definitely going to see a big increase. Was good in a tournament game versus Texas. Yeah, I was at that game. He really impressed me. Definitely a good athlete. Some versatility to his game there. Could take over with some of their main pieces leaving, but still going to be a very good team. There at Miami. I have Guillermo Diaz-Graham for Pitt. Both the Diaz-Graham twins have tons of potential. Guillermo may be the one that sees the more minutes right away. Both of them very skilled big man, good rim protectors. I think Guillermo is the more of the true five, but I don't know. I mixed them. Jorge Diaz-Graham is the other one. My last record guy was Devin McLaughlin for Boston College. Forward that I really liked last year, was really effective when he was on the floor. Some people could go with Prince League, but McLaughlin was just better as a freshman, so I think that he was kind of getting undervalued. So I think he could even take a step up, playing with post, very solid backcourt, front court. I mean, McLaughlin, very solid rebounder, efficient offensive player, and should be very solid this year as well. But moving to my all freshman team, I have two Duke guys, Jared McCain and Sean Stewart. McCain's more of a guard, offensive, good scorer from the mid-range, good shooter as well. Stewart's more of a high motor forward that should see some minutes with a little bit of uncertainty in like the big man position. Obviously, Filipowski's there, but he's more of a true forward that's just going to have to be forced to play the five. Another guy I could have thrown in was Caleb Foster, could also be in the starting position. It just kind of depends on who gets the minutes there. All of Duke's freshmen are very good. Even TJ Power, who I didn't have in my team, still one of the best freshmen in the country. So definitely if he gets some minutes, there can be a role for him on his team. But I have Elliot Cadeau from North Carolina. Should be their starting point guard. Very good passer. Elite court vision. Has some decent offensive skills as well. Good shooter. Pretty decent physical abilities, honestly. It's a reclass, so reclass point guard is a little iffy, but he originally reclassed down, so he basically just reclassed into his original class. I think he's like nearly 20 years old, so he's or like 20 or 19. But he's like old. He's not just like a reclass, like young, inexperienced point guard. I think he's just like he's not going to have as huge of a problem adjusting. Carlton Carrington for Pitt is another guy I have. I think he's going to be their starting point guard. I don't know how good he's going to be, but he's going to get starting minutes in ACC, so can't really go against that. And the last guy I had was Marcus Burton for Notre Dame. I think he's going to put up a ton of shots. Notre Dame's team is not going to be that good, but Burton's going to put up all the shots in the world. He's probably going to lead to some solid points as well. Yeah, but moving to our individual team review, we will start with Louisville, who finished last year, 2-18 in the conference. That's terrible. They're going to be last again. I don't care. They theoretically have talent. Sky Clark, former 5-star. Trey White, all-freshman guy at USC. Mike James averaged 10 points as a freshman. JJ Traynor and Brandon Huntley Hatfield, good, decent forwards. Huntley Hatfield, former 5-star. Dennis Evans, like borderline 5-star freshman. Tyler Johnson, Caleb Glenn, Curtis Williams, good recruits. Who cares? Kenny Payne is coaching his team. Kenny Payne is one of the worst coaches of all time in college basketball. Like, it's been crazy how bad they were last year. Like, yeah, they weren't that good of a team, but like they should not have only won 4 games. And he has them doing the same thing. Like people thought like, oh, Trey White, he kind of improved his roster. Like I like Trey White personally, but Sky Clark, I don't love personally. At least based on what I saw at Illinois. And I don't think this is a better situation for him based on what Louisville has. I mean, they lost to Kentucky Wesleyan. It was an exhibition game, but who cares? Like Kentucky Wesleyan, what are we doing here? I mean, Kentucky Wesleyan is a decent D2 program, but like you just should not be even close. Like, and then Kenny Payne was talking about how like you're not just going to out talent teams. Like that's a whole reason why they brought you in, Kenny Payne. Because you were the recruiter at Kentucky. I mean, turns out this isn't. I don't know. That's a ridiculous statement when the main reason they brought him in because it was his assistant coaching abilities. Yeah, he's not going to make it to year 3. I don't even think he's going to make it the full year 2. He has done a terrible job. I cannot overstate how bad he's been, but hopefully the Kenny Payne era is done soon because Louisville is a program with still lots of potential, still like huge college basketball brand, and Payne is running it straight into the ground. Yeah, they're going to be lads. Next team up, they also got Coron Davis, Juku guy, Emmanuel Okorafor coming back, Danilo Jovanovic. I don't care. They're going to be terrible. Notre Dame next team. I have them 14th. Love Shrewsbury. Don't love this roster. It's worse roster than Louisville, but Shrewsbury is just such a better coach than Kenny Payne. Marcus Burton should put up some big numbers. Kerry Booth could be a solid freshman as well. I've heard he's more of a prospect, though, than immediate impact player. Julian Roper, Tay Davis, Keba Ng. I mean, I guess those are your starting players. Shrewsbury's going to make them like somewhat competitive, though. I don't think they're going to be good, but like they allegedly beat Xavier in a secret scrimmage. That is notable to me. Matt Zona, maybe he gets some minutes. Maybe Mike is Shrewsbury's son, Braden Shrewsbury. I've heard there's a lot of hype that he could be a solid player right away. Logan Emis. Yeah, they're just going to be better because of their coaching. Like Kenny Payne, Louisville is 290th in the country last year. Like Notre Dame is bad, but like, I don't know. Notre Dame's going to be good in the future, though. Shrewsbury has really been recruiting. It's going to take a few years, but like, I really like where this Notre Dame team is going. 14th in my book this year, but they're going to be, they have a lot of potential. Next team up in the standings is Georgia Tech, who I have the Yellow Jackets sitting at 11th this year. Again, love Stoudemire. Going to take a few years, but they have a little bit more talent in Notre Dame. Significantly more, actually. Amari Abram, a lot of potential there. Kwesi Reeves, a lot of potential. Well, was bad at Florida, but definitely has a potential to shape into a more impactful player. Definitely still has that potential. Good athlete. Hypothetically, is a good shooter. Wasn't really that good at Florida, but Miles Kelly, really solid returner. Tyjon Claude, big man from Western Carolina, was good there. Baden Dongo, freshman that could contribute right away. You got like Debo Coleman, Lance Terry, Kyle Sturdivant, good pieces off the bench. Tafari Gapari, a lot of potential with him. Ebenezer Dewuna, solid ACC backup big already. Ibrahim Asako, Ibrahim Suare, Carter Murphy, some solid pieces to round out the bench, but overall, I really like Stoudemire. He's really going to overachieve. Still don't love him this year, but I do sort of like some of the pieces, and he's already been recruiting to a level that Georgia Tech really hasn't seen ever, so definitely a program with lots of potential there in Atlanta. They're going to be good, just not this year, but like Stoudemire, if he stays there, I'm a big Damon Stoudemire guy. He has an NBA pedigree with the Celtics, really turned Pacific into like a not contender, but like top half WCC team. He's going to be phenomenal there. Next team up, going back in the standings, is going to be Florida State. Florida State, I have it 13th. I liked Leonard Hamilton. He's just getting too old. He just doesn't have it anymore, unfortunately. Things went down really quickly. They got Georgetown point guard Primo Spears, who is not going to be eligible, but I don't like him anyway. Spears is a very non-winning player. He's won 3 conference games in 2 years playing basketball, so that's terrible. He's going to put up numbers, when he's eligible, but I do not think he is a good player to have on your team. But I guess it's worth a take. He's skilled. Can put up numbers. Darren Green is a guy decently like. Cameron Fletcher should be fully healthy this year. I think was hurt for a lot of last year. Solid piece. Baba Miller, breakout. Did I not do my breakout players? Oh yeah, I had Bob Miller. I just glossed over him when I did my breakout players. I think he's a breakout player coming back. Obviously, only played like a few games last year after being ineligible for a while. He wasn't that effective last year, but he has potential. Cam Corn, decent big man. Jameer Watkins, VCU transfer. Jalen Warley maybe does some solid damage. Jalen Gainey should be healthy after coming from Brown unhealthy last year, but really good defensive big. Josh Nickelberry, solid score from LaSalle. Taylor Bobowen, incoming freshman. Chandler Jackson, Deontay Green, Tom House. This Florida State team was terrible last year. I think they're a little bit better, but I still don't love the team. Don't really love the players. Like, I don't think they're really like that much better, even though they're going to be a lot improved at KenPom rankings. Still don't really like them. Next team up, Virginia Tech. I have the Hokies sitting at ninth place. They lost Rodney Rice recently, which was pretty significant because I thought Rodney Rice was a guy who was in it for a breakout. He is in the portal or not on Virginia Tech. I don't know where he is, but it's not Virginia Tech. The good news is they still have Sean Padula and Hunter Couture, very solid backcourt. Padula's scorer, can pass the ball. Couture is a really good shooter. Robbie Bear, Northwestern transfer, is okay. Not great, but he started at Northwestern. Northwestern was a good team. Can't hate against that. Lynn Kidd should be the primary big man. Solid player. Mekhi Long had some combo forward with good defense, good rebounding. MJ Collins, maybe a guy that breaks out as well with Rice gone. Good athlete. Solid combo guard option there. Tyler Nickel, maybe that guy as well. Good shooter, scored. Didn't see minutes at North Carolina really, but I could definitely see him doing a lot better at Virginia Tech. Majel Potit is a good backup forward. Patrick Wessler may be a guy to look out for. Redshirt freshman, should be a very solid backup center, I actually think. Could surprise some people. Brandon Recksteiner, John Camden, Jaden Young, just rounding out the roster. It sucks that Rice left. That was big because I thought he was going to be a big piece of why they could be sneaky competitive. I still don't think they'll be terrible, but I wouldn't anticipate them to be a tournament team now after this. Not that I was before, but I thought they had a okay chance. Moving to our next team, we have Boston College, who was sneaky 9-11 last year in ACC. Even though they weren't good analytically, didn't have a good record, like they were competitive in conference play. I'm seeing at 12th. I really like Quentin Post. Like this roster is really not bad. Like I think they're better than some people think. Maybe McLaughlin is a guy I like. Obviously, Prince of League Bay could also have a big sophomore jump. Claudel Harris, reports have been pretty high on him this offseason. Transfer from Charleston Southern. Mason Madsen, Chase Kelly, Donald Hand is healthy after only playing 2 games last season. Yeah. Jaden Hastings, Armani Mighty, Fred Payne, Elijah Strong rounding out the bench. I like Earl Grant, sort of. I think this is a team that could really overachieve their expectations. Jaden Zachary, I don't know if I mentioned him, really solid returning starting guard in the conference. But yeah, Post is one of the best players in the conference, and I think this team can actually be pretty solid despite Boston College usually being like a pretty bad basketball school. Think they can, I mean, not like super great, but I think they can definitely win some games, can be sneaky competitive in the conference. Yeah, I'm seeing 12th, which is better than some teams at the bottom for sure. Next team up in the standings is going to be Syracuse. I have Syracuse at 6 this year. I have 5 tournament teams, so I have them just outside, but I really do like Syracuse. I think it was time for a change with Adrian Autry now to coach, taking over for Jim Boeheim. Think they can definitely improve there. Think that, I mean, maybe with fresh young face in the program, obviously Judah Mintz, a great returner, JJ Starling, that should be a high-level backcourt if Starling is able to live up to his expectations, coming back home to Syracuse. Chris Bell, good rising sophomore class. Chris Bell, Malik Brown, Chance Westry is currently hurt, but I don't know what his timetable is, but he could be solid Auburn transfer. Justin Taylor, Quadir Copeland, Kyle Cuffey. Apparently, there's been good reports about him coming from Kansas, didn't play there. But yeah, Benny Williams, I think is currently like suspended or something, but if he's able to live up to his potential, he could be really good. Naheem McLeod, big man in conference transfer from Florida State, really, really big guy. like 7-3 or something. Florida State just turns out those bigs like that. So he should be impactful due to his size. Monir Hema, another backup big. Yeah, William Patterson, Peter Carey, also backup bigs. So yeah, I think there's definitely a talent on this team to be a lot better than they were last year. Mint should be a high-level point guard. Overall, I think Syracuse is going to be just a lot better. They're not going to play the Boeheim zone anymore, according to Audrey, at least. We'll see how defense looks now, but it's good. He's not just Boeheim part 2, kind of implementing his own stuff. The game is changing. Got to keep up with it, and he isn't a good this offseason. I'm getting higher on Audrey by the day. He's someone I'm continually growing on. Next team is up in standings is Wake Forest. I have the Demon Deacons sitting at 7th in the conference. Steve Forbes has been phenomenal with developing transfers. He has a few this year. Hunter Salas, the big name to watch out for. Cam Hildreth, also a big breakout guy, obviously, he had a huge game in his secret scrimmage versus Alabama. Definitely could. He was their second leading returning scorer last year, but I think he could definitely still be a very solid piece. Could even be like an all-conference guy. Kevin Boopy Miller from Central Michigan was limited to some games last year due to injury, only 4 games, but could be a solid point guard. Any conference can score, can pass. Andrew Carr, versatile forward. Damari Monsanto, really good shooter. Not going to be healthy right away, but really solid player. Matthew Marsh shot like 90% from the field. Good. I mean, you know what you're getting from him. He's going to get inside layups, dunks. Going to be effective there. Abramo Sanka, coming from UCLA, has a lot of potential there. Didn't play much as a freshman, but has some potential. Zach Keller, another rising sophomore. Joey Tuka, I think, is hurt right now. Efton Reed could be really good if he gets a waiver, but that's not going to happen. But if he was eligible, he'd be really valuable as an inside physical big man rim protector, something that Marsh doesn't really give you. Freshman class, Parker Frederickson, Marcus Mitrovic, Marion, Aaron Clark, some solid players. Not sure if you're going to see too many minutes right away, but it's a solid class to keep him on over the coming years. So yeah, I really like Steve Forbes' ability to develop. It all comes down to how good Salas is, I think. If he's good, they could be like a sneaky tournament team. But I don't know with this team. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. This is a team that I'm really interested to see how everything kind of fits together, how transfers look, how the returners look, how soon Monsanto's back. Next team is North Carolina. They were extremely disappointing. Number 1 team last year preseason. Did not make the tournament. I have them at 3 this year, though. Losing Caleb Love is a good thing, and that's coming from someone that, me personally, I think Caleb Love is going to be amazing at Arizona. The change needed to happen, though. Caleb Love is a good player. I think people hating him too much, but people hating him at North Carolina rightfully so. Like, it just wasn't good. He was taking really inefficient shots. Definitely good that he got a big coaching upgrade. And that's the thing. I don't think Hubert Davis is that good of a coach, but I think he's made this roster better. The more I look at it, Davis was a better out of the backcourt players. Baycott, dominant rebounder. Cadeau, really solid point guard commit. And he filled in with good role players. Cormac Ryan and Harrison Ingram. They're not going to light the role on fire, but they're going to play some solid winning basketball, I think. Seth Trimble, bench point guard, and maybe could see some increased minutes. Jalen Washington, rising sophomore forward as well. Paxton Wojcik, Jalen Willard, some other transfers. James Okonkwo, good backup big man. Zayden High, maybe could sneak in the rotation, maybe not, though. Davis did not love to play his bench last year. So we'll see if that changes this year. Now they have maybe a little more talent down there. But yeah, overall, I think it's just a better put together team. I think they're going to be a solid top 25 team, bottom end top 25, but definitely think this won't be a complete disaster. Or if it is, Davis should be counting his days because he has not been that good outside. I mean, he obviously made the national championship in his first year, but that whole season leading up to that was disappointment. And then he won a few games in March. Caleb Love went off, but I wouldn't count it out to his coaching. But I mean, still have to give credit where credit is due. We'll see this year. This will be a big telling year for how good he is. Not completely out on him yet, but I'm not in on him at all, really. NC State, though, next up, they made a tournament last year. They did lose a lot, though. I have them at 8th. I think they could still be solid. Kevin Keats did a good job with the backcourt. This year, it's not Craven Smith and Jarkel Joyner. It is DJ Horn, Jaden Taylor. Significant downgrade, but also Jarkel Joyner wasn't amazing. I mean, I liked him underratedly coming into NC State, but he wasn't what he was before then. So maybe DJ Horn, Jaden Taylor can see big breakouts. Casey Morcell, really efficient, low usage player coming back. I think he could be really good. We'll see if he gets an uptick in usage. MJ Rice, I think, has like been with the team or something, but he's a guy I do like for a breakout coming from Kansas. Strong wing forward. Very highly impactful player there if he's healthy. DJ Burns, really big inside skilled center. Was playing really good at end of season. I think he could carry that over. They got some transfers filled at the bench. Michael O'Connell from Stanford, solid defensive pass first point guard. He can play some minutes at least. Ben Middlebrook, solid backup big from Clemson. Also got Mohamed Diarra as a backup big. Cam Woods from North Carolina A&T. Don't think he's going to be eligible, but if he is, can light it up. Good spark plug offensively off the bench. Ernest Ross, good athlete. LJ Thomas. Breon Pass, maybe some guys that could see expanded roles after not doing much so far. Dennis Parker, the lone freshman coming in. Borderline top 100 recruits. I don't know how much minutes he's going to get right away, quite frankly. But yeah, NC State, we'll see how this is kind of how good it will be. All depends on Keats. Like he's been up and down last year. Making tournament kind of saved him, and we'll see if he can be as successful with this group of transfers. Definitely think there's some potential. So we will see how good it actually ends up being. But next team is Clemson on the list. I have the Tigers at 4th in the conference. It's a team I really like this year. PJ Hall I love. Healthy PJ Hall should like maybe be an All-American the whole season. Joseph Girard, Chase Hunter, really solid backcourt. Girard can really score the ball. Hunter can also score a little bit. Good passer, so good backcourt duo there. Ian Shefflin could be in for an expanded role on the wing forward. Jack Clark, really solid transfer in conference from NC State. A lot of ACC transfer stayed in conference. But yeah, Clark should be a solid player. Not a great shooter, but shoots too many threes for how bad of a shooter he is. But good inside scorer, good defender. Should help them when he's fully healthy. I think he's a little banged up right now. But Alex Hemingway, good shooter off the bench. He might be hurt too. RJ Godfrey, though, maybe a guy that breaks out as a sophomore. Jake Heidbreder, good scorer. Boss Leda, good. Decent backup big. Dylan Hunter, Joshua Beadle, backup guard. Chauncey Wiggins, redshirt freshman. Asa Thomas is a lone incoming freshman. Overall, though, decent team. I think their offense is going to be really fun to watch. I think they will definitely make the tournament after a disappointing year last year. They were good enough to make the tournament. They had the wins. They just had they had a lot of bad losses, which kind of ultimately did them in and sent them packing to the NIT. So, yeah, I mean, if they just avoid those bad losses, I think they'll be fine. PJ Hall is amazing. So, yeah, next team, Pittsburgh. They were surprisingly amazing last year. Capel really turned the team around and saved his job as well. But he's facing a new challenge. No Damari Spurn, no Nelly Cummings, no Dealer Johnson, too. Never played a game there, but is off to JUCO after getting kicked off the team. I think that was more of an administration thing than a basketball coach thing. But either way, he is at JUCO now. The formerly highly rated prospect has been to like a million schools, a million colleges, a million high schools, and still never played a game. Maybe he's playing at JUCO now, though. I know he played in some like JUCO like showcase. Not sure if he's actually played in games yet. We'll see how that goes. But Hinson's going to be amazing. Federico, solid like defensive big. He's a guy that you know what you're getting out of. Diaz Graham twins, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of potential, a lot of length in those two guys. Skilled for the size. Ishmael Leggett, coming from Rhode Island. Good scorer there. Rhode Island was bad, so don't know how good he's going to translate, but definitely a lot of potential there. overall good guards. Zach Austin from High Point, another guy coming from a bad team, but he has a lot of potential, really athletic player, has some shooting potential, really good in defense, and I think he's a player that will translate very well to the high major level. Carlton Carrington, Jalon Lowe, those are the freshmen that you're going to look to step up. William Jeffers coming back from injury. Michael Hewitt Jr., a guard coming from D2 ranks, which he's playing because Pitt needed guard depth. He could provide some shooting off the bench. There are worse things you can do. Would rather have Hewitt in an empty roster spot, I think. Marlon Barnes. I also got Papa Conte, former Michigan commit, although he is injured out for the season, but should be a solid piece when he is healthy. Overall, I think they'll. I forgot to say where I had them. I had him at 10th. Don't love the team outside of Hinson, but I don't know. This could be another Capella year telling how good he actually is. We will see. I'm not super high on this Pitt team, but I wasn't high on them at all last year, and they were good. So maybe Capella can prove me wrong again, but I think this roster is worse. We will see how it all goes down. Next team, Duke. I had them first. I think they're clearly the best team in the conference, one of the best teams in the country. It's insane that they got 4 starters back: Jeremy Roach, Tyrese Proctor, Mark Mitchell, Kyle Filipowski, from a team that was so good last year. Ryan Young, I think, might have started some games as well, solid backup big, but Filipowski was one of the best freshmen in the country, will be one of the best players in the country as a sophomore. Same with Tyrese Proctor, a lot of hype around him. Mark Mitchell, very solid two-way player, athletic defender, would miss the last game of the season versus Tennessee, should be fully good now. Jeremy Roach, another really solid guard. Jared McCain, Sean Stewart, TJ Power, Caleb Foster, the incoming freshman. Shire is a beast on the recruiting trail. In his second year, his 2024 classes are insane. I already got Cooper Flagg, obviously, Patrick Ngongba, Isaiah Evans, Con Newpel. But supposedly someone's going to leave that class. Word on the street, probably Con is going to decommit. I don't know. That's what I've been hearing. That's the rumor, the buzz. I don't really know anything, but off the bench, they have some guys. Christian Reeves could be another guy that takes a step up as like a rim protector. Center. Jaden Shute should be a good shooter off the bench. Jalen Blake's good defender off the bench as well. Yeah, but Ryan Young, good inside scorer, solid efficiency player in the right system setting. So yeah, Duke is going to be amazing. The continuity is unheard of for a Duke team. They have really good players, but like those guys should all take jumps. Just rising sophomores, McCain, Foster, one of those guys should be a starter right away. Maybe Stewart, if they line up a different way. I think Stewart, high motor, high energy. Forward could make an impact right away. There's a lot to like about this team. I think they're clearly the best in the conference. But yeah, next team up is Virginia, who I have 5th. When I posted my Virginia video this offseason about their preview, Virginia fans were not happy, but like they're just biased. But I don't love this roster. That's the reason why. I think if this was not coached by Tony Bennett, this would not be that good of a team. Reese Beekman, he's never going to be like a scorer, but he's still a very good passer, very good defender. You'll take what you can get from him. Isaac McNeely's a guy I think could break out. Andrew Rohde, good transfer. Don't know how he's going to shape out on defense, but should be a skilled offensive player coming from St. Thomas. Obviously, Dunn, big breakout guy, rim protection, athleticism. Jordan Miner coming from Merrimack. They have Jacob Groves coming from Oklahoma. Solid rotational player there. Dante Harris coming from, it is 10 o'clock. College basketball has started now, but I am still podcasting, obviously. Dante Harris coming from Georgetown 2 years ago. It wasn't that good year, but Tony Bennett's significantly better than Patrick Ewing. Very, very significantly. They're actually like the opposite ends of the spectrum. Leon Bond, redshirt freshman. Tane Murray could take a jump in rotation. Elijah Gertrude, if he's fully healthy, should be a impactful freshman. Blake Buchanan could be sneaky like starting. I think he started their exhibition game. Anthony Robinson, Christian Bliss, redshirt freshman, round out the roster. So, yeah, I really don't love the roster. They've lost a lot of guys. They lost, obviously, Armand Franklin, Jaden Gardner, Kie Clark, Ben Vanderplas, Caden Shedrick, and don't really love the whole roster as a whole. I think it's okay enough for them to make tournament under Tony Bennett. Don't see this as a top 25 team, but I mean, I'm never going to count out Tony Bennett at the end of the day. I think he's still one of the best coaches, pound for pound, maybe the best coach in the country. So I think Virginia will still be a very solid team. Fifth in the ACC, have them making the tournament. But the final team is Miami, who won the conference last year, regular season at least their first in KenPom. I mean, they tied for Virginia. Virginia might have been a 1 seed, but they both were 15-5 in conference. Miami obviously made the Final Four. Great run to championship. They lose Isaiah Wong, Jordan Miller. They still get back all conference guys, though. Nigel Pack, I don't think he was all conference last year, but has that potential. Norchad Omier, Wogo Poplar should be in for a big breakout. Miami also has, obviously, Matthew Cleveland, very versatile forward. Should be a good Miller replacement, I think. Think he'll be the perfect replacement. Even though Miller was so good, I think Cleveland, under the right system, can really evolve into that. Bensley Joseph could play some point guard for them. Could help get the ball to Pack. Showed some flashes last year, averaged over 5 points a game, 2 assists. Definitely something to work with there. AJ Casey, their bench is a little thin, but AJ Casey could take a jump. Michael Nwoko is a guy I really liked as a high school prospect coming in as a freshman. Really high motor, undersized big man. I think could really make an impact, though. Kaishan George, another freshman, going to be really good. Really got good size for his position as a guard. Good length, good skills. Kind of has the full package there. Christian Watson, Ja'Kai Robinson, Paul Jobay, other guys surrounded the roster, but really like the starting 5. I have them as my second place team in the conference. Think they can. I mean, they've had bad defenses the past few years, but they've still gone deep tournament runs. So maybe it just doesn't matter for them. So I think they definitely have what it takes to go back there again. Not saying they're going to Final Four, but I think they can definitely be a very solid team. And even with losing stars like Wong and Miller, I think they can definitely be a very solid team this upcoming year. So yeah, that rounds out the ACC preview. Kind of rusted it out a little bit. Obviously, it's only me on the podcast today. Needed to fit it in before the season started. So yeah, I mean, subscribe to our YouTube, Instagram, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that fun stuff. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, give us a 5-star review. That would be much appreciated. And yeah, that is our last conference preview. We are officially done with all the conference previews now. So it is college basketball season. We will be back with our regularly scheduled podcast soon. So make sure to stay subscribed. We'll still be putting out unique content on YouTube, Instagram, all of those platforms, Twitter. So make sure to stay subscribed, follow us there. So yeah, it's been a fun off season. A lot of conference previews. That was a 30-second conference preview we did. Actually 31st considering we combined SWAC and MEAC into one conference preview, but that was our 30-second individual conference that we looked at least. So we made it. We made it. It is college basketball. College basketball is on now. We have made it. So yeah, back to our regularly scheduled programming for the next episode. Can't believe we made it through all the conference previews. Have fun. Enjoy the college basketball season.